Hello, and welcome back to another episode of When She Only Cooks For You, Here's What You Do. Listen, I hiked it way out to Maryland to get this brother on the show. This brother's real deal, people. Not only, we're not even cooking, we're baking, and I've never had a baker on the show.
Whoop, whoop.
We got Kareem Mr.Bake on the show.
What's going on, brother?
Thanks
for having me, man.
Oh, man,
Thanks for having
pleasure.
me.
Thanks for being on my show. Like, you a celebrity, yo. The brother's been on everything, all the shows. Yo, he'll let you know what he's been on. Yeah, so to even him consider my little show is a blessing. But listen, all jokes aside, I really appreciate you being
thanks for
on.
having me. Thanks for having me.
What are you going to do for us today?
All right, so I'm actually going to do a few different things for you today.
Okay.
The first thing we're going to start out with is my signature cake, which is my sweet potato cake, which I won my first competition off of, came from my aunt's recipe, which she used to make us sweet potato cake, sweet potato pies every holiday.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So then the second thing I'm going to do for you is another thing that I'm known for, which is my banana pudding, but I'm going to do it two ways. So I'm going to do banana pudding where you can make the custard from scratch for those who are interested in, being adventurous or they got a good baking hand.
Okay.
And then for those who want to just keep it the plain, simple way, I'm going to use the box mix and I'm going to just elevate it a little bit for you. So two ways on that, yes.
All right, well, listen. Also,
yes.
I'm not going to do it, but I want you to talk about the shows you've been on.
Okay. Yeah.
I did my homework on him and it turned into a final exam. Brother's been everywhere. So I'm really proud to have him on, but I want him to talk about it. Because I want him to talk about it.
Well, I appreciate that, brother.
All right,
for real. First of all, I feel like I'm like still Jenny from the block. I'm regular, you know what I mean? Still reachable to the regular people, but I have done some amazing things, and I am proud about that because it took a lot of hard work just to get to those spaces. So this has been like a 7-year journey, to be 100. So I've been on, my first show was Bake It Like Buddy, which is the cake boss's name.
Yes.
I won that competition, sweet potato cake we're about to work on. And then I've been on Beat Bobby Flay on that Food Network. I've been on the one-off show called the Girl Scout Cookie Championship on Food Network. I've also been on Sugar Rush Christmas, which is on Netflix, season 2. I've been on Food Network Canada's show, The Big Bake. And then I was a feature judge on Buddy vs. Duff, and as well as a docuseries called Bake It Till You Make It, which is on the Cooking Channel. Then I've done some local and what's the thing? Daytime TV. Daytime TV. So I've done Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I saw you
Rachael Ray.
Yes.
And I've done the Today Show. I've done some PBS show.
Boom.
So I've been on a lot of publications and then Fox 5 locally. I've done a lot of here in the Maryland, D.C. area.
Okay, so now you realize while hiking down here in the middle of a snowstorm from New York to Maryland to get my brother on the show. Listen, he was like, either we do it now or we do it. I can't
like
go with
springtime. It's like springtime.
We had to get him on now. But listen, when she no longer wants to cook for you, Kareem Mr.Bake is going to bake.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
All right. All right, welcome back, everybody. Mr. Bake here. So now, what I'm going to prepare for you guys is my award-winning sweet potato cake. I know some of you thinking, like, I never had that before. It's your basic spice cake, pumped up with just some sweet potatoes. You can do different variations. I could do half can, half baked sweet potatoes. I like to bake my sweet potatoes more than I like to boil them because I like to keep the nutrition in them. All right, so first we're going to start out with some vegetable oil. All right, That was already a cup, that was pre-measured. And then I'm going to do some sugar. So I use a mixture of both. I use granulated white sugar, pour that directly into your bowl. And I use some of that good old brown sugar. Now, when you do brown sugar, make sure recipe is going to tell you if it wants loose or packed. Packed is when you pack it in, using your hands, stuffing all of that in there. Loose is kind of like this situation where it's kind of still up there, not packed in. But I'm going to pack this in because I want to make sure I have all that goodness in there for you, baby, okay? It's giving no child left behind on this. Put that up in there. Now, I already know some of you don't have a stand mixer. That's okay. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I started out with the blender. I actually started out whipping 150 strokes with my hand. So that arm muscle was good, even though I ain't getting into no fights. So start your mixer. You want to make sure you put it on low. Now, while that's mixing, we're going to start measuring out our dry ingredients. And I'm going to sift our dry ingredients, okay? And you're probably thinking, what does sift means? Sifting means to make sure you want to make sure there's nothing inside of your flour, like any particles or anything like that. But then you also want to make sure that you incorporate some air. So that's what the sifting method does. It incorporates air into the product. So what I'm doing is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I want you to see that magic. Doesn't it look like it's snowing? That's exactly what you want to see. Bring it down closer though so you don't get it all over the place. And you can actually find these sifters at your local grocery store, dollar store. So don't think these are expensive equipments. This is a more expensive one because I do a lot of baking here. All right. And then, we want to also then add our leaveners. Now your leaveners is your baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And then our spices, which is going to kick this up a notch. So that was brown sugar, ginger, and nutmeg. Get that all nice and sift it through. And then look at that magic baby right there. All right. So now that our mixture, for the mixture here, all you really want it to do is come together. And I'm going to show you guys, right? All you really want it to do is kind of marry. I call it blending and marrying each other. All right, that's pretty much it. And then make sure nothing is sticking to the side, anything like that. All right, put that back on our mixer. If I get this right. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, especially when the camera's rolling, but I got y'all. All right, now we're gonna crack our eggs. I'm gonna have the mixer on low again. I'm gonna crack 1 egg at a time. Now, you want to crack 1 egg at a time because you want to make sure it gets fully incorporated. Now, if I pre-crack all these eggs and put them in there at once, it can scramble and not cohesively blend together. Can't get my words together either. All right? So 1 egg at a time. And while we're cracking eggs, I'm going to tell you a story. So when I did this cake for the cake boss and it was time for him to taste it, he was telling me, I have never had a sweet potato cake before. So I'm sitting here like, oh, sicky now, what this man about to say about this cake. And baby, when I tell you he sliced into that cake, they be doing that TV pause dramatic stuff that get you on the edge of your feet, because I literally was sweating everywhere waiting for this man to tell me what he thought. And he goes, Jaz, that was the best cake I've ever tasted. And I'm like, yo, you kidding me? He said, I want to steal the recipe and put it on his menu. So if you go to the Cake Boss shop in New York or anywhere else and you see sweet potato cake, it came from me. All right? So now I'm going to add some vanilla extract. Please, if you can, pure vanilla extract. I understand ingredients is highly expensive now, but if you can get the good stuff, get the good stuff. Sometimes if a recipe says 1 teaspoon, maybe you could throw it up a notch and put another teaspoon in there, okay? Don't be afraid. Let that do its thing. And that's pretty much it. And I'm going to show you the silkiness in this. This is what we're looking for, okay? Everything is nice and combined and blended well. All right? Another thing you can do is just scrape your bowl using a spatula. Please definitely get you a spatula. Then you can find these at your local store, dollar store, and your grocery store definitely has this. You do not have to go and buy anything expensive. Amazon might even offer you a cute little package set of everything with mixer, measuring cups and spoons and everything and spatulas. So please definitely do yourself some justice, especially if you want your product to come out well. And if I could tell you one more thing, take your time and read the recipe. All right? I know we want to rush, get everything done in a quick minute. You know what I mean? You're trying to surprise your girl. You're trying to surprise the women in your life or the special person in your life. Take your time, because once you take your time, baking is exact science. Well, you cannot cook it like you make a steak. All right? So now it's time for that special ingredient. You know what I'm talking about? Gonna open up our can of sweet potatoes. I already wiped the top off. You probably saw me doing it while I was talking. You just want to make sure nothing from the inside, on top of the can, gets inside of your product. Now I'm going to pour it in the measuring cup. And you're probably asking why. So now I'm going to do I have a little special gadget. You guys may not have this, and that's totally fine. This is an emulsion blender. You can use a regular juicer or a blender that you like making smoothies or anything like that. So you don't have to use this. You don't have to get this particular gadget if you already have something at home. If you want, you can sit there and have your child mash them with a fork too as well. But I want all the juices in here as well, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and go in there. I'm gonna start off on a lower pulse. And watch, it's literally gonna mash it. And this is really good if you're making mashed potatoes. So you can get this little gadget. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't buy this gadget myself. I was cleaning out some stuff in my mother's house and she happened to have this. And I'm sitting here like, lady, you don't even use stuff like this. What you got this for? So you already know I had to snag that from her. And literally you want it to where it look like, hold on so you can hear me. Take this out. You want it to where it look like baby food. Honestly, it's no better way to tell you. So what I do is I actually like to mix it in with the liquid ingredients because it just blends better and smoother for me. All right. And like I said, again, you can definitely switch off and add roasted sweet potatoes if you want, or a half and half blend, which I do at the bakery. When I had a bakery, we did a half and half blend where we would roast some sweet potatoes because we also made sweet potato pies. So we would roast some sweet potatoes and then we'll use the canned sweet potatoes. And also, like I said, food is hell of expensive, okay? All right, so we're gonna get that mixing. Oh, it would be great if I plug it back up, right? Let's plug that back up, get that mixing until that's fully combined again. All right. Now, talking about sweet potato pie. So my Aunt Janet, rest her soul, was known for her sweet potato pies. My family was big on cooking big dinners for our family gatherings. We used to have once a month. And my aunt was known for making a lot of the dishes, but she made like sweet potato pies every Thanksgiving. She made abundance of sweet potato pies where everybody would take a sweet potato pie home. I'm adding a little bit at a time as well. And then I'm gonna pulse this, and pulse this means off and on because the mix is gonna shoot a little bit out, and we don't want the flour to shoot everywhere. So when that gets into a nice speed, then I can let that go. So that was my food story when I first started, was watching my aunt make all these sweet potato pies for everybody. And then literally when I tell you my aunt used to feed the neighborhood, she fed the neighborhood, son. So everybody took a pie home during Thanksgiving and Christmas. So this is kind of a homage to my aunt when I created this cake because I love cake. I love a sliced cake, and that's why I'm doing a cake today, because it is one of my favorite desserts to eat is the sliced cake. I will have cupcakes. Cupcakes are cool. I like when a cupcake phase joint was happening, but I'm true blood. I like my sliced cakes like I love Harlem, baby. Okay. So no matter where I'm at in the world, I'm always gonna rep Harlem. So my first love is always gonna be a sliced cake. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna put this to the side. And then what I'm doing here is scraping the bowl, all right? I'm gonna make sure that everything that's on the bottom and the top, all the flour gets mixed in because we don't wanna see no lumps or anything like that. And you wanna have a really, really beautiful batter. This batter already smells good. This batter already looks good. I mean, I've been making this batter for years. So you know I know. But follow that recipe. Don't try to steer off from it. Please don't try to add anything new. Now, if you want to add something new, the thing I would say, if you were to pick up some more spices, add a little bit of cloves in there, but start with like a half a teaspoon of cloves or anything like that. Another one rule I want to give everybody: do not over mix your batter. Please don't go cut the mixer on, walk around, go, change your baby diaper, or go, take the trash out. Like, really focus on what you're doing. This is done. That's it. I know you looking like he did that in 5 seconds. Oh my God. Yeah, repetition. Practice makes perfect. Y'all know that whole stilo. But if you continue at it, follow the recipe, you could do it too. All right. So listen, this is me also too. If you know me, I clean everything off. It's giving no child left behind. And this is another, I got mad stories because I've been doing this for a while. Another story. I was making mini cupcakes for a big order, and I literally had to do like a specific flavor. They wanted a certain amount, and I literally didn't have enough to fill up a row, which was 3 out of a 12 joint. Do you know I had to make a whole new batter just to get that? So you already know what happened after that. I scraped every last bowl got scraped. Back in the day when you was a kid, you went to your grandmother's house or your favorite uncle, whoever baked, and they had the bowl, used to lick the bowl. My roommates never had a bowl lick, baby. They were so mad that they could not lick a bowl. So I'm telling you right now, don't ever come in my kitchen and think that you have a bowl to be licked, because it will not. All right? So I have some pan spray. Now I have the butter baking one, not the cooking one. There's multiple different ones. Please make sure you get the one that says for baking. Now, if you don't want to spend money on this, which I understand, take it back to the old school. All right. First, before I tell you take it back to the old school, let me you want to spray this at an angle, and I prefer that you use this over a sink or over the trash. And the reason why is because residue falls on the counter. You got to clean up, as well as if it falls on the floor and you're walking, swoop, you busting your tail. So preferably to do it over a sink, over a trash can. I'm gonna do it over the counter just because I want you to see what I'm doing. So now, old school way, y'all already know. Get you some butter, get you some shortening, whichever one. You start and you make sure you get up in them crevices. That's the main important part, is the bottom and the crevices, and then the sides, because you can always run a knife through the side. All right, and then put a little bit of flour on the outside. Now, please don't put mad flour on this like you're trying to have a dusting of snow outside or something like that. You want to lightly flour it, because think about it. If you put a lot of flour on a product and you flip the cake out, what you think is going to be in the outside? Flour. So just a little goes a long way type situation, all right? So now for this, I know you're like, how do I know to even? Do a little at a time on each one. So we're going to put this batter in both these pans. These are 8-inch pans, all right? I don't prefer to go any bigger than the 8-inch. Because then you would need to double the batter. So a little bit at a time. I'm going to do a little at a time for y'all. And now we go kind of seesawing back and forth to kind of measure up to make sure that the batter is evenly displayed. You guys are cooking at home. I'm not going to get into science where you could get you a scale, weigh the batter out. No one's doing all that. Just kind of go back and forth. Take your time. Watch, you're going to see this bowl. You're going to be clean, baby. You ain't going to be able to look. Clean bowl. Ain't no licking that. I ain't even finished. I'm getting all of this. Okay? Scrape it on the side. Now, they can lick this if you want. Have at it, all right? So, number one thing I also did too, read your recipe all the way entirely, because I didn't say that in the beginning. That is so crucial, because your recipe is going to actually tell you what you need to do before you do it. So you kind of reading it, knowing what you have to do beforehand. So it's kind of a flowing method. So your recipe is going to always tell you to preheat your oven, which I already have my oven on. I bring my house oven down just a little bit because I know this oven. Please play with your ovens. Each oven is different at homes. This is a gas oven, so it's gonna cook different than an electric oven. Some oven, but old school oven for me back in the day was one side cooked better than the other side. So my first cake was literally given sleet soap. So I learned a lot, and that was on my first cake. So we're gonna go ahead and put these in the oven, and I'm gonna go ahead and bake them for about 25 to 30 minutes. You can do a toothpick to make sure it's clean, or you can use a knife. So there's a lot of things that you don't even need to go out there and purchase. You already have in your house. Use a regular knife, stick it in. If it comes out clean, you are good, all right? So I'm gonna go put these in the oven. I'm gonna clean up my station, and we're gonna be right back, and we're gonna go ahead and make the frosting for this cake, all right? Welcome back, everybody. All right, so thanks for allowing me to clean up the station, because I don't know about y'all, baby, but I cannot work in a lot of chaos. You should see me on these competition shows if you get to check one of them out. I clean up my station as I go, because you're already in an unfamiliar space, and you just want to know where everything is at, for real. All right, so now what I have here is some unsalted butter. Please use butter, not margarine, not spread. And we know we love it. But please use butter if you can. I know, like I keep saying, food is expensive, but please use the good stuff. You want to get the good stuff in there, so when you impressing, your special someone, that special lady, in your life, you want to make sure you give them the good stuff, all right? You give yourself the other stuff, but when you're giving it to the people, you give them the good stuff. So then again, we start on a small. We have this butter at room temperature. You want to start with room temperature butter, because if you ever try to mix cold butter, it's fighting back at you. So it's going to shoot back at you when you over here kind of fighting the butter, and you got to pick up butter pieces off the counter. And please don't use any butter that fall on the floor. But then again, it's your house, your thing. Do your thing. So, and if you didn't take your butter out in time, that's perfectly fine. Measure out the amount of butter that you need. Use your good old trusting microwave, and just nuke it. Start at like 15. If the butter is cold, you could go to 30 seconds. But if the butter is still not, and you want room temperature is soft to touch. And if it's not soft to touch, then nuke it for about 15-second increment until it gets there. Now I'm gonna tell you real quick. You try to put that joint on 1 minute, you're gonna be out of luck, because that joint gonna melt, and that's not what you want. You don't want melted butter, okay, guys? All right. And the reason why you want soft butter, because you want your butter to start doing its thing like this. You see what I'm saying right here? If that butter wasn't soft, it wouldn't be doing its thing. Now, what we are doing here, and I'm gonna teach you some terminologies, even though I know you guys halfway gonna be like, what is he saying? This is the creaming method. So what we're doing is just creaming the butter, light and fluffy. Another thing that we're doing is adding air into the product. And this derived from old school baking. From when I even was doing the flour sifting part, we added air into that product. That was a way that a lot of old bakers, before we had what we call leaveners. And leaveners are the activation and the science that creates that makes the cake rise and keeps the cake fluffy throughout the baking process and when you eat it. So the same thing here. Before we had those leaveners, which is baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Well, salt was there with baking powder and baking soda. We use a lot of eggs. So we would whip egg whites up or egg yolks up to a bigger volume. Or we would use butter, we would cream it till it becomes light and fluffy, and then fold in any products from there, so we can try to get as soft as tender crumb as we possibly could. All right, so now my butter's sitting here on the top, chilling on the block, and we want it to go inside the park with the rest of the goons. So let's go ahead and use our spatula just to scrape the side. All right, and then again, I want to let you guys know what we're making is cream cheese frosting. I know I just started throwing butter in the mixer, and I know y'all was looking like, what this dude doing, son? So this is our cream cheese frosting. And one tip that I do with my cream cheese frosting, there's two different ways you can do this. You can add the powdered sugar in before adding the cream cheese. I don't do that. I should do that because the cream cheese is probably going to shoot up everywhere. But I actually have this cute little guard that I'm about to put on here. But the real trick I want you guys to know is this is cold cream cheese. So right before I came back off a break, I took this cream cheese directly out of the refrigerator, pre-measured it, and took it directly out of the refrigerator. Now, you're probably thinking, because I told you what type of powdered sugar to use, you're probably going to say, what kind of cream cheese should I use? I ain't even going to fight you on that. If you want to use Philadelphia, use good old Philly. If you want to use the Great Value or whatever your brand is where you at, you can go ahead and use it. I'm not going to fight you on that one. But just make sure it's full fat Okay, you want to make sure it's the right cream cheese. You don't want to make sure, because y'all be trying to add like, I don't want all that fat in my stuff, so I'm going to do low fat. Stop doing all of that. Make the product, make the recipe the way the recipe is telling you to make it. Once you taste the recipe, son, then you go, all right, now I got a hang of this thing. You know what I mean? Like you swagging the surfing, you learn that two-step. When you get that going, then you could go in and start remixing it, okay? Don't try to throw Beyonce on the track if you ain't even got your first joints, your first bars laid down, all right? Because she knows she's going to come at you looking like, nah, I'm good on that. So please, 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 if I could tell you anything, follow the recipe. And see, my cream cheese is sticking because it's cold. So that's that cold and that warm coming together. And this is why I'm going to put this guard on this thing, because the powdered sugar is going to shoot everywhere. I already know. And then I'm going to look like, I'm going to have white face, and we don't want that. So I'm not trying to get that. All right. Boom. Clean that out. See that? Make sure everything is off. I made sure all of it was from the bottom as well. Mix it back on. And also, I'm going to tell you, my mixer has a little lock gadget. Use that lock gadget on the side, because that lock gadget is going to keep it from flapping. Watch this. He'll jump up and down and move and do this. You want to keep it locked, all right? I'm going to bring it up to 2. And while that's doing that, we'll get my guard. Hold on. And this is it. Just a little plastic guard that keeps the powdered sugar from shooting out, as well as it gives me a little chimney chute, so I can shoot things, so I can put stuff down in it as well. All right? I still want that to mix a little bit more. And while that's mixing a little bit more, I told you I got mad stories. So it's story time with Mr.Bake. That's what it should be cut when I cut into a story. It should be like story time with Mr.Bake. We need a little song. So I remember doing my first Food Network, my second Food Network appearance. I was doing Beat Bobby Flay. Grace of God, tell you, God be working, baby, because I got that episode sitting down on my grandmother's birthday. I'm my grandma's boy, and my grandmother created space for me to not just bake in her home, but to exist as growing up, trying to figure out what my sexuality was. My grandmother gave me that space to kind of like be me, you know, she'll be playing her hair, you know what I mean? Granted, my family did not chastise me, did not talk about me for anything, if I was a little feminine or anything like that. They didn't talk about me. So, also, I identify as a openly black gay male, and so they didn't fight any of that. But, you know, when you navigate and you see everything out in the streets, you know, you kind of reserve yourself a little bit to be this masculine person. And my grandmother allowed me to be whoever I wanted to be. So, fast forward years later, I get this DM from somebody saying, somebody called out a beat Bobby Flay. And it's a baking episode, and I think you should do it. I'm like, shut up. First of all, they had to tell me it was a baking episode because I wasn't going to do it if I was cooking. I do not do savory, and I'm not going to go against Bobby Flay on savory. That's stupid, right? So no. Pause on the story. I just want to let you know I'm going to start scooping powdered sugar directly into the cream cheese mixture, okay? Now, back to my story. So she called me. I say, you know what? I'm going to do it. I get this call on my grandmother's birthday. So it's love already in that. And literally, they want me to come up that night to shoot the episode the next day. Right? And coming up, I had to go up to New York City. They shot in Harlem. So you know I was excited about that. They kept me at 125th Street at the A-Loft. So I was like, I'm right at home. I'm on 145th. This ain't nothing. And we shot in the old 106 and Park building. For those who remember 106 and Park, the TV show with AJ and Free, we shot in that. So I was already excited at that because I've been to 106 and Park before. I met AJ and Free somewhere in my photo album. Remember photos? I got a picture of AJ and Free and got greeted by black women. It was everything about it was love. You see this powder shooting to me? It's giving like a mist in the air. That's why I got that guard on there. And so we get there and we do the competition. And mind you, I've never watched an episode of Beat Bobby Flay. So I had to watch like 3 episodes on my way up. I took the Amtrak up. And so I understood the show. I had to go up against one other contestant and then go up against Bobby. So I went up and one contestant. I'm in this space. Actually, my intro, they're like, do you have anything fun you do? And I'm like, I bake. That's my talent. Like, what you want from me? And they was like, nah, like this guy was doing a juggling with fruits and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. I don't do that. You know, my hand and eye coordination is not there, son. So I was like, you know what? I'm from Harlem. We dance. So I came in on a Millie Rock, and I swear to God, the people was like, the black people was like, who is this cat? So I've been there like, that's what I could do. They did it. I had to do it twice. It worked out. And when I told you guys, that was probably one of the best shows to date that I have actually filmed. The energy was so electrifying. I felt really good about it. The way it was presented to me was dope. I love it. So now I'm about to put some vanilla extract in here. Now, this is where you can measure your vanilla extract. I'm gonna just pour it because I know what I'm doing. So I had so much fun on the Bobby Flay show that one of the judges was like, this is the Kareem show. And I wound up making cocktails. I don't know who the hell I thought I was. I wound up making cocktails for me, Bobby, and the two judges, dancing. I was screaming Whitney Houston, Bobby! Like, they didn't put that on the show though, so you're not gonna see that. But that's like the BTSs they have locked in the vault. It's like that Disney vault. Man, I had so much fun on that show. Just to let y'all, just wanted to give y'all a little sneak peek. If you go watch that, and I do tell people that is one of the best episodes or shows to watch me in, because you would think that I was a paid actor in that show because of how much fun I had on that show. And then I want to show you guys, before I finish that up, is the cream cheese frosting. Look at this. Look at this. Let me tell you something. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to do cream cheese frosting and have everything room temperature, read in the recipe. And when I tell you my cream cheese came out to cream cheese soup, so when it was time to frost this cake, that thing was not working, and I was having a hard time with that. So just to imagine learning this years later in my career, it's been a lifesaver, son, because now I'm able to frost my cupcakes really well, frost my cakes really good, and have a really, really good frosting to do it with. Like, man, you can't beat this. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. I like it. I like that tanginess in there. What I do need is a little bit more powdered sugar. So, and oh, I taste that vanilla. See that extra vanilla? Man, please. Don't have no people tell you to put 2 1 teaspoons in there. Just don't use all the vanilla extract because, like I said, food is expensive. Okay? All right. I'm gonna add probably, and mind you guys, this is a recipe that go with this. But you know, you've been doing it for so long, I'm literally eyeing this. So this is where I can eye this. I don't want you to eye anything, especially if you ain't new to this, all right? Because I'm true to this. I know how to just kind of go off a GP and know what I'm doing. But please read that recipe. Put that guard back on because the sugar's already fighting me, as you can tell. Can I add one more thing about that Bobby Flay show? The show was so good before we even knew who won between me and Bobby, because you know I went up against Bobby. Bobby walks up to me, and mind you, Bobby didn't say a few words to me while we competed, but he don't say no words to you before. He don't say not much words to you after the competition is over with, right? His goons and squad, they pull him to the side. He comes to me right before we about to go in judging, and he says, where you from? I told him where I'm from. He was like, I've never seen the in-studio audience go up like this. We need to have you back on. Psh, man, please. That's all I needed to hear from one of the greats. So I'm getting compliments after compliments from the great. I don't know why I got my own TV show yet. I'm going to talk to Marcus about getting my own show because I don't understand why I'm a guest on the show when I should be the host of the show. But I'm not trying to take his job though, right? That's the thing. But my man can do the editing, which y'all talk to him. Get up in these comments and let my man know how you feel about my episode. And my man might be just a little persuaded to be like, Reem, if you come up to New York enough, I might got you. Because I think we can make some magic happen, son. That's what I want to taste right there too. See? You talk that crap, you get the magic going right. You in there, baby. That's that New York Harlem crap talking. My man already know how we get down. He already knows all love. All right, so I'm back to cleaning off my spatula again, guys. All right, and you already know my motto, no child left behind. Seriously, no child left behind. I actually work a lot in the community. I love to work with the youth. I speak to a lot of kids right now that are in high school about just inspiration and motivation, just telling my story and giving them hope. You know, the world is a dangerous place out there. We all have to grow up in it. We all have to navigate and fight through that. And that's going to give them a little bit of hope to let them know that they can make it through. And it's going to be a little tough, but you got it, especially our black and brown children, because, you know, they don't, social media killing everybody, son. For real, for real. All right. So I normally would clean this up, but I don't want to mess up my rag that I have for my hands. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to check on my cakes first. Hold on. That's what I should be doing. All right, them things looking good. I'm going to show y'all one so y'all can see. See that thing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate them. And you're probably thinking, what's the rotation? So the rotation is this cake was on one side. So I'm going to take the other cake, and whatever was on the back is going to now be in the front, and the front going to be in the back, and the same thing for this. You can also put it on the other layer of the oven. Now I know some people looking like, I don't want to bake on both those. I don't want to bake on both my racks. You can bake on both your racks. You just got to know what you're doing on baking with both your racks. Pay attention to your product. And with that, what we're doing is that we're allowing even baking. You understand how your oven bakes, so you want to get into the hang of that. All right. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna chop up some pecans because I got them. Why not? But also I like to create a texture and a good mouthfeel in the product because we are going to have this really, really good moist cake. And then we're gonna have this creamy, velvety cream cheese. And you really wanna create something where it's a crunch in that mouth. And that's what I mean about a mouth feel. All right, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of some pecans out. And I'm gonna do a nice coarse chop with them. Nothing too small, but enough so that you can actually bite into the pecans, or Southerners pecans. So, you know, you say tomato, I say tomato. Long as you're picking out the wrong nuts and you're doing it right. That's all I care about. I can even do this with my eyes closed. That's called repetition. If you guys don't know, I actually went to culinary school, so cutting and using a nice knife is my thing, because regardless that I went to school for baking, you still have to take culinary classes. And the one thing about culinary one is you cut vegetables all class. That's all you do is your knife cutting skills. So your small, medium, juliennes, dicing from potatoes to, it's called your mirepoix. So your potatoes, your carrots, your celery, your onion. Those are like your basics that you do. And then you learn how to fabricate a chicken. All right. And each chef is going to teach you different. Each school is going to teach you a little different. So, but literally, the knife cutting skills is there. And it definitely taught me from going from cutting with my finger like this to cutting where the knife does all the work. All right. So I'm going to take the rest of these out because I don't need no more in there. And just roughly cut these as well. All right. Now, I know the cake is still in the oven. What I'm going to do, cake is still in the oven. What I also suggest is that you bake early in advance or bake a day ahead. So that's early in advance, either early in advance meaning bake earlier that day, especially if you're doing a cake and you want to frost it the way we're about to do in a few minutes. You want to bake that in advance. So a few hours before you need it, preferably the day before. So I'm gonna give y'all a little trick. A lot of people don't know, if you've never worked in a bakery before or know how they work, we operate in a system. So a lot of y'all cakes are made at least 2 to 3 days before you even eat it. You know, that's why it's so crucial for bakers to really produce a really, really good cake. This is for me for later, for my oatmeal and for another cake. So don't judge me. All right? So that's literally what we do that for. And what we'll do is clean this table up because I told you I can't work in no mess. So what we'll do is we'll bake the cake and we will wrap it really, really well. All right? And then once we wrap it really, really well, then we'll go ahead and take and we'll refrigerate it. That is my suggestion to you. So that's what I did for today. I actually made a cake yesterday so that we would have a cake that's already cool because I couldn't work with a hot cake. Then we have to wait all day for this cake to cool down. And ain't nobody got time for that when you're ready to eat it, all right? So I wrapped up cakes from yesterday. I double saran wrapped them. I have some industrial saran wrap here. But like I said, easy, simple stuff. We got the cakes already baked. They're completely cold. This just makes it so much better. So I actually don't want to tear up all my plastic. This is how you reuse, reduce, and recycle. Is I'm going to use this to flip my cakes out on so you can see. And then I'm going to use this one for our turntable. So that's the one cake, and that's our second cake. This is what we called a turntable, fricky, you know. And what we do here is I'm going to put one of those plastics that we had on a cake on the turntable because I'm going to flip this cake right out. All right. Then what I'm going to do is then turn this cake on its back side or bottom side so the top is looking up, facing upward. Now you see this round piece right here, right? Where I can put my finger and you can definitely see that. We're going to take what is a serrated knife, aka a bread knife, which you could find in your block. If you don't have this, you can use a regular chef knife, but I prefer that you use the rigid edges because it gives a great seesaw and clean cut motion. And it's really great if you want to cut breads, all right? If you're cutting bread, like a whole loaf of bread or something like that. All right, so I like to find a landing space, and then I do back and forth seesaw motion. And then I turn the turntable around, literally old school turntables, like if there's a record on here, old school turntables. And I just turn this around and just only cutting it in a little bit. I'm not even going all the way in, guys, okay? Just so you know. And now when I make it to the other side, then I go ahead and cut all the way through. Boom. This is that scrap that you want to go ahead and tell people to eat. You know, instead of them licking the bowl, tell your kids to eat this, especially if they're running around looking crazy, or your girl, or especially someone in your life wants to eat something right now because she's excited for what you're doing. Give it a scrap so they can get that taste, and they get eager. You want to get them eager to get what you about to got going on, all right? Second, now, I'm going to teach you. You don't have to do this at all, right? But because I like really great slices, I'm going to teach you how to cut this 2-inch cake, into 2 slices, all right? So I'm going to find a middle place somewhere, just kind of eyeball it to be honest, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on the top, make a nice indentation so the knife is literally standing into the cake. Then I'm going to go around, keeping the knife still. Do not move the knife upside down, just go up and down as the turntable turns the cake away from you and the knife is cutting towards you until you make it all the way around to the other side. Once you make it all the way to the other side, you see that? It's kind of giving wop, 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 wop. Then you want to cut directly through. Right? Boom. And look at this. Voila. Magic. So now we have 2 slices of cake. All right? Take that off. We're going to put that there. Now, before I flip this out, I'm going to give you a little technique that I learned in working in bakeries. So now remember I told you about buttering, pan spraying, flouring your cake pans, things like that, how important that is. If that doesn't work for you, you ain't do a good job. So when you flip it over, it don't come out after you let it cool. You cut, especially if you have a gas stove, you cut that gas stove on, let the stove cut on, I don't know what's going on, and you do a rotation around it a little bit. Just, you don't want to recook, you're not recooking it, you're just rotating around that heat for a second. And what that's doing is, it's helping kind of like with the oils and the butter that's in the cake, it's going to help release the cake from the pan a little bit. Then you get to flip it right on out, all right? Now what happens is you might get a little bit of the outer skin stuck on there because you didn't spray it, but that's all right because you're gonna frost that up anyway. The goal is to take the cake out of the goddamn pan in its full in its entirety, okay? Boom, we're gonna do the same process again. Find me a space, and I'm gonna just keep going around. It's gonna keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep it rolling, rolling, rolling. Take that piece off. Then I'm gonna go right in the middle again, and just repeat the same process from earlier. And where you're gonna end up with, and you know, I told you I've been doing this for years, you're gonna end up with now 4 layers of cake, okay? Take that plastic off. You can go ahead and put that to the side for trash or for eating later, whichever you decide. Get our cream cheese frosting. Now, I also want to let you know I had some goodness in my refrigerator that I left out. This is that good yum yum. This is that yummy, yummy, yum. So now, it's, I know, y'all probably like, this man singing way too much. I should have been an R&B singer, right? Put a little auto-tune on me because my voice ain't hitting like a little Jodeci or not. But anyway, back to what this is. This is some homemade salted caramel sauce. You know it's homemade because it's in a jar. This is in a squeezing bottle that I have. So I just had it sitting out at room temperature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our cake round and some fun utensils. And I'm gonna show you the utensils I'm gonna use first. So I have offset spatula. Offset spatula means offsetting from the surface. So it has an indentation up. We have, excuse me, can't keep my hands kicking up. We have a medium size, a small size, and then I have a flat spatula that I'm gonna use. And then this is what we call a bench scraper. My bench scraper has been through war and back. But this is actually my bench scraper from college. So we get knife kits at school when you start. So this is my original OG killer, all right? So it stays with me. All right, so you want to take a little bit of your luscious velvet cream cheese frosting that's still sticking, percolating really good. You want to put a dollop of that on the side. You want to take now what we just saw as the top of the cake becomes the bottom of the cake. All right, just so you understand. Now, you can do 2 different methods. I don't have a pastry bag, a bag to show you how to do a dome. You don't need that. Take a little bit of that nice velvet cream cheese frosting, put a little bit in the center. Take your offset spatula, start from the center, and work your way out. And just spread it like you were spreading frosting on a cupcake. The frosting is so good that it's not going anywhere. And you just want to spread enough, and all the way out to the edges too. And you just want to spread enough to kind of equal a little bit of the cake slice. And if you need help, use a spoon. Get a spoon. The next one I'm gonna show you. Get a spoon, and you can do 2 or 3 spoonfuls each layer. So that kind of gives you a measurement of how much you're supposed to use. Do you have any ice cream scoopers? You can do the small ice cream scoopers and do that as well. So for this, I'm gonna take some of those chopped pecans, pecans if you're Southern, or the up Northerners who say pecans. Yeah, your grandmother taught you how to say that. And then I'm gonna use some of this caramel sauce and just do some zigzags in there. Just all I'm doing is amping this up, adding an extra layer of flavor into this cake, to be honest with you guys. If you don't got caramel sauce, you don't need it. You know what I mean? I definitely prefer you to make your own caramel sauce, but caramel sauce is a little tricky than buying it because the store caramel sauce could be a little sweet for me, but it depends on your palate. So now you take the bottom of the cake, or which was the bottom, and now it's gonna be the top. And then we're gonna repeat this process over again, okay? All right. Then we're gonna go ahead, spread that through like this. And while spreading this cake reminds me of another story. Story time with Mr. Bake, here we go. So while I was filming Canada, I did that in the midst of lockdown still. So you remember Canada's lockdown procedures was, before I get to my story, I'm actually gonna skip this layer. So this is where we're creating flavor profiles and textures and stuff. I'm gonna skip this layer. And I'm not even gonna put no caramel or no nuts on this. I'm gonna go ahead and put another cake layer right on top. Y'all just gotta remind me that this cake layer is where I'm gonna add the caramel and nuts on, okay? So, fast forward, now we still in COVID restrictions, and you know Canada's, you have to sit in this hotel room for 10 days before you could, or 14 days before you can go out into the world and take like 18 freaking COVID tests. So anyway, that's what we did. And then we go out and film a show the direct next day. So the day that I'm free at last, we go literally shoot a goddamn show for 16 hours, son. 16 hours they held us up. It was like they held us up for ransom. And I did get some money from that. But anyway, long story short, that's not your business. So while we in there, right, I'm doing a cake, and these kitchens are all unfamiliar. This is not my kitchen where I know where the flour at, I know where the sugar at, I know where everything is at here. This kitchen, I don't know where nothing at. So I'm making this chocolate cake and put it all together and throw it in the oven, and I'm going back looking at the cake. And I'm like, yo, the cake is looking real, it looked real Mount Rushmore. Like me, humps over here, flat over here, and I'm like, I know this chocolate cake. I've been making this cake for years. Like, why is it looking like this? So then I start thinking to myself, okay, let's go back to the process, Kareem. What did you do? So, pause. Check this cake. This thing looking good. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. So, these cakes are done, and I'm going to show you how they're done. One, I can do a fingerprint. One, I could do a finger and it bounces back. Or I don't have a knife, so I have this small one. Clean, okay? So that cake is done. And you can tell also by that nice golden brown. So we're gonna go ahead and put these in front of you so hopefully some smoke shoot up in front of the screen and get y'all hungry. And then I'm gonna cut my oven off because I'm telling you right now, the sweat was about to happen. All right, so back to my story. When I go through and realize what happened is I forgot to put damn sugar into the goddamn cake. What? So I had to redo. And mind you, the time is real on these competitions, y'all. So I had to redo the entire cake all over again. But with my luck, it came out really well the second time, to the point that the judges ate the cake. And you know what's something good, right? This is what the judges did. They took a bite and they said, "Oh, Kareem," and threw their plates down. And I was like, oh, that joint must have been banging the way you threw your... I ain't never had no judge throw their plate down, right? So I was like, oh, that joint must have been banging. So then another guy up there whose name is Ron Ben Israel, an idol of mine, a beautiful cake decorator in New York City, he tastes the cake and he goes, "This chocolate cake is perfect." What? So it was so weird that I didn't think he was gonna say that. I started doing the Charleston Chew or the funky chicken, y'all. I don't know why that was the dance step that came out to me. Mind you, I'm from Harlem 2000 area. I could have Harlem Shake. I could have did an Al B. I could have did anything else. Or I could have chicken noodle soup. Why did I do this old school dance step as if I was like, seasoned? I'm like, I'm still a young pup. Anyway, that was like another compliment, baby. So please, if you get a chance, go check out Food Network Canada Big Bake. I forgot the name of the episode. I'll give you the information. It's going to be on the link. All right. So I take a little bit of frosting, and I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to go around in a circle. I'm going to take not a little bit. I'm taking a little bit more than what I need, because what we also would do in the bakery here is do a crumb coat. And a crumb coat is a thin layer of frosting going on the outside of the cake, and then we'll stick it into the refrigerator and let that get hard. And what it does is it locks any of the crumbs that falls off the cake so that you get those beautiful white frosted cakes when you pick them up from your baker or your supermarket and things like that, right? That's how we do that. And then, but for this case, we're not gonna do that. We just gonna put all this goodness right on the outside of this cake. And it's to the point where I think I made just enough frosting. It's giving, thank you, Jesus. So I told you I put a lot so that I can spin around the cake table and make sure it's fully covered. Then, literally I made just enough. Literally I made just enough frosting, I believe. So then we're gonna take the rest of this frosting, plop that joint right on top, and like we started from the beginning with the nice, don't do this rough. Like you see my hand, so I am doing this on this part. This you can do, and I'm literally like lightly. It's like feather, like light as a touch, baby. Don't be aggressive, especially if you're a New Yorker. Calm that down, okay? Calm down. That's why I said bake a day before, so you don't gotta feel like you rushing. Cause you know we always feeling like we rushing, and we be rushing to go nowhere, rushing to go to a red light. I ain't never seen nobody so quick to go to a red light in my life than in New York City. And mind you, I've been out in New York City now for 14 years, but I go home a lot, and I drive there too. And I tell you, can I tell story time with Mr. Bake? I was at the light on 139th and like 7th. And 7th and 8th, we don't do Adam Clay and Power and Frederick Douglass if you're from real Harlem. We don't do that. You do that, you transient. We can catch you quickly in the midst of your sentence. We already know, oh, he moves from somewhere else. So that next question is, where are you from originally? All right, just so you know. So get your 7th and 8th Avenue up. So anyway, I'm at the light. There was a guy with his dog about to cross the street. And the light was red, but the guy was coming. I was going to let the guy go. Baby, when I tell you that light turned green, that man honked his horn so quick as soon as the light turned green. I said, bro, the light just turned green. He didn't want this man with the dog to walk by. I'm like, bro, anywhere you put it, unless you're going straight, you about to go into a red light, left or right, right? Calm down. Anyway, all right. So take that spatula that you have. If you don't, and mind you, this is another thing you get off of Amazon for about $4. Use your spoon if you want. I'll even do it with I'm going to do it with the spatula. Then I'm going to do the other side with the spoon. And then you start keeping that in one motion, and then start lifting up. This is a quick, easy, beautiful design that you can do to get away with not having to do a pretty cake. And look at this. Don't this thing start, ain't it starting to coming together, y'all? Pulling away from the sides. I know you're probably thinking I can't do this. I don't know what he's doing over here. Just take your time. Take your time. Do it right. You can do it, baby. Do it tonight. Please don't do it in the nighttime, because y'all know y'all be halfway sleepy, because you know we work hard in New York. We work about 3 jobs. It's giving Thea. Y'all remember Thea? I'm not going to go into that with y'all. All right. So start in the middle, and then I call it the twilight zone. And you just twirl, 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 twirl. Make yourself dizzy. Then come around the edge and clean that up. And this is actually a technique. It's called texturizing buttercream and cream cheese, just so we can all see that, all right? Now, you can finish this like this. You can throw the nuts on. So now I got that yum. Yo, we need music interludes too in this, because I think when I pull it up, it should just scream yum, yum. Anyway, and then go to the edge and just let that ooze down. You see that? It's like when you're at a baby shower, when you do your oohs in your eyes when you open up the gifts. Do y'all open up gifts at baby showers anymore? Anyway. Alright, so keep going around to create a nice effect. And like I said, you can buy this caramel from the store if you don't want to make your own, but I always would suggest you make your own caramel sauce. Alright? And you could get thicker on this around the edge, especially on the top. And this defeats you doing any of the piping bag stuff that y'all might be scared of doing. And take your nuts and literally touch the edge. Touch the edge with your nuts. You can go ahead and go to the dollar store and get your little I love you sign or something in between. You know they put, when you put into the flowers, I love you, happy Valentine's Day, happy Mother's Day, anything like that. You literally can just throw this right on top. And this thing done, baby. That thing done. See, I'm gonna get a little bit more jazzy in it, because I used to watch Emeril Lagasse as a kid. I think that was my inspiration to do TV. Mind you, I would never want to do TV, but I snuck and watch him. And you throw your bam on there, bam, and you just, come across this way, making a bunch of a mess, but we're now at this point we having fun with it because the cake is done, it's standing, it look good. I'm about to taste this thing, give y'all some, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Baby, please. All right, let me go ahead and get me a plate and a knife so we can cut this bad boy. All right. Move this over. This here. So, what you want to do is go straight down in the middle. Cutting like velvet, baby. Cut that other. Scoop that up. Boom. Look at that slice. Look at that thing. That's what you want. You want this beautiful looking slice. This is cream cheese frosting. Don't ignore that. You want this beautiful looking slice with these nice even layers of cakes and frosting. All right. So you already know what time it is, baby. It's eat time for me. And I'm going to just eat for y'all at home. My mouth, I got a good mouthfeel. That frosting is nice and creamy. It's tangy from the cream cheese frosting. Not too sweet because I don't like too sweet frosting. And that cake, oh my God, them spices is right in there. Sweet potatoes coming through. And I love that I'm eating this nuts because in my mouth, now my teeth have something to do. I'm going to give you another piece of this. I want some more nuts on mine, actually. I don't know about y'all. So, I think I have to talk. But it's so good. First of all, that's some damn good cake. Second of all, thank you guys for watching and joining me on making my award-winning sweet potato cake. I'm Mr. Bake. I'm not done with you just yet, but I am going to take a break and I'm going to come back.
Hey, listen, we're back. Listen, Kareem almost closed out the show on us. I don't know, he just took it over. He forgot that I'm supposed to freaking test out the food and everything.
It's the Kareem show.
Yeah, it is the Kareem show.
My bad.
He already told you guys he's going to take it over. He's taking it over. But it's all love. And you know what I'm saying? I don't even like being in front of the camera. I don't have to do it, but I got to do it. I don't have to face for it. But listen. On a serious note, I want to drop something to you.
All right. That was funny.
This kind of took me back a little bit. You know, on the show, people usually come on my show and cook. I don't really get many bakers. And I'm not trying to get off, but when you started baking, that smell brought back my mom. I love my mom. I love both my parents 2007, but this hit me hard in OBS. And like, you guys can't smell what's happening. I don't really bake. I don't have a lot of people that bake, but it smells like magic. It smells amazing. It smells like Southern bacon. It smells like mom. Mr. Bake did that. So he took me back. And, well, I don't want to get into it. Like, I don't want to start, but I appreciate that.
No problem, bro.
You brought back my mom for a second. That was really amazing.
Can I add something that you say that? That's the kind of baking I do, though. When I talk about, because it took me a while to find like what my foods, like what my story is, what kind of baking and what kind of chef am I. And I do classic American desserts that are nostalgic. I like to bring you back to a place. I don't want to compete with nobody's, grandmother, uncle, aunt, whoever, but I want to bring you back to a place that you feel the way that you feel. So that tells me I'm doing a good job, man. So thank you for that. Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to get emotional on camera, but mom came back with, All right, let's focus.
Yes.
So listen, I'm gonna try this first.
All right, try it.
The brother's amazing. I mean, believe the hype, man. Read up on him, then meet him, and but let's see what this is all about.
It's just a little art. That's good. I feel like I missed something, but I like it.
Don't do that.
I know. I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Really good. You missed a bake. You don't miss nothing. Right?
I'm playing.
This is really good.
I'm playing with you.
Damn.
I wanted to give you kind of false hope in it, and that I didn't. But I ate it. I believed in it. You see, I didn't eat.
No, this is really good.
You see, I didn't eat half of my cake, and I ate before we started. I ate a heavy meal before we started baking.
I have a bad habit of eating the whole thing
on the camera.
That's what something.
So
I gotta chill.
Eat it up.
I gotta ask you a question.
That happened to me on a news anchor out here in on Fox, where they couldn't do their segment anymore, and they just ate the cake up.
Right.
Yeah, and I had to take over the segment. So yeah, I'm sorry. I usually become like boss. Let me get you a napkin too.
Yeah, please. I don't want to be asking questions and stuff all on my mouth.
Sorry, go ahead, brother. I need one myself.
So, I have a few questions.
All right.
You mentioned your aunt.
Yes. Yes.
Who else? Who else in the family? Was anybody else in your family that kind of...
Yeah, so my aunt Jenny was a huge influence because she's the one that took risk a lot in baking.
Okay.
But I grew up around a bunch of women. My grandmother only had women.
Okay.
So I didn't grow up around. There wasn't a lot of men. If they were like maybe 5 years, like maybe like 10 years older than me or something, and kind of distant a little bit. My cousins. So the females in my family were the ones that baked. So like my second cousins, they would make a layered coconut cake, and they would we had family meetings. So every month we would get together. My first introduction to even entrepreneurship and food was through my family as a kid. Yeah. So we used to come together every month. They used to come together every month. So that's how I got to see my second cousin and all of them, because the entire family would come together. Food will engulf a table. Desserts would be in a corner. Really? So all these different desserts. My aunt Phyllis made a lot of cakes as well. She didn't bake from scratch a lot, but she made those strawberry cakes from like Duncan Hines and the lemon cakes. So she would make all the cakes, as well as my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother would do all the savory dishes. Okay. And then other family members would do, like, the potato salad. Whoever was known for whatever they was known for, they did their thing for. So the influence honestly came from a lot of different people. As when I was a kid, like my starter deck, I like to say top five was like my family. So my Aunt Janet, my Aunt Phyllis, and my grandmother.
Got you. Let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
Mr. Bake, can I do this? Now, seriously, because, with all that happening, mom's all in my head now because of the smell. I want to bake a cake.
Okay. I
can't do nothing like this yet. But do you make it look easy, or is baking kind of... Because I'm going to honest you, this is amazing. And then you got this is like art to me, because you really got creative with it. Okay, I can't do it, let's be real. But could I get into baking?
Yeah.
If I follow, because I know you were saying follow recipes. So could I do that? Yeah.
So I would say, one, you can start baking. You can start baking a recipe, right? Now, you have to know yourself when you start. Do you have patience? The number one thing I'm going to tell you got to have patience. I think I said that earlier. Like, you got to have the patience in what you're doing, because baking is not like cooking. It's not you go in here, take something out, season it, put it on there, put it in the oven, leave it. It's like you got to measure it out. You got to pour it. It says cream for 10, 15 minutes. You have to do it. Some things may say knead if you're making like breads and you're doing it by hand. So you have to literally follow the recipe to the T, especially when you don't know what you're doing. So I always tell people, I started out box cakes.
Gotcha.
So perfect your box cake.
Yeah.
Perfect, literally, get your canned frosteds, get your box cake, perfect that first.
Okay.
Once you perfect that, then you can graduate to like cookies.
Major things.
Bread, brownies. So start small. Don't take this and say, I want to do this, right? This is big for people who don't know how to bake, right? For you, this might be big.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
Right.
Yeah.
So then start off with a cake mix.
Okay.
Then when you graduate, you get that together. Then maybe do cookies from scratch, like literally flour, sugar, eggs, cookies from scratch.
Yeah.
Then you go into brownies, because they come into a pan. Do that from scratch. You get what I'm saying? Because then you'll learn your baking times. You'll learn your oven through this process. You know what I mean? You learn if you have a patience for it. Some people just don't have a patience for it.
New York, sometimes we don't have the patience.
We don't got patience for a lot.
Yeah.
But this might even stop you. Okay. Actually, baking for me, if I can go into that, I don't know if you're going to ask that question later.
Okay. No,
I don't want to jump no more.
You didn't jump on that. You already told my damn show already. So jump. I dare you. Go on, jump on in.
So, like baking was an escape for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just like it allowed me a space, like being in the kitchen. I was always by myself. You already know New York kitchen was nowhere near this kitchen we in right now. It was literally this. It was this. You get what I'm saying? From the counter to the wall. That's the kitchen. And I would just be in there, music playing. I would have music playing, jamming out, and really in there just zoned out, meditating, thinking, figuring out what I want to do. dreaming big there. That's my space to dream big. You know what I mean? So it got me away from all the negative stuff I heard outside. Because though, you know, me battling with what it meant to be black, a black man, and then what it meant to be a black gay man, that space also allowed me to kind of figure that out as well too. Just kind of go through the woes of relationships, because your family can't help you. My mom can't teach me how to be another man's date another man. She know how to date a man from her perspective, but not from my perspective. So I had to go through that on my own, and some friends, but on my own.
Okay, no, I hear you. Something else I want to add. Okay, because you've been on TV.
Yes.
I mean, let's be real. This is backyard stuff. I mean, you
don't downplay, man. No. I mean, I have been on national television.
I'm gonna tell you what he was doing. He was telling me how to. I need to bring you over here. I ain't gonna see you on your show. But yo, you gonna kind of come over here, and I'm like, okay, nah. But
that's not why. See, that's why I want to tell you. I knew they was gonna do this.
I know you up, but you know what the beauty of it is that I'm old enough to still learn. And his brother's been on TV, so he knows. I mean, I'm busting his job, but he knows what works.
You got me.
And I'm one open for anything, because I want it to work. I want him looking his best on here, on TV.
Yeah.
When you first got on, was it intimidating?
You're a sucker. You're a sucker for that one. You're a sucker for that one. Go ahead.
No, it's all love.
100% love. 100% love.
So when you first got on. Was it intimidating? Was it moving too fast? Was it like, because I know you discussed it already, kind of. Was it ever a time where you're like, maybe I need to go back to the drawing board? Or you was where you needed to be and you just rock like that? So
funny you say that. So my first competition, which was when I made this cake.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a showcase talking about that specific thing.
Okay.
My first time getting on national television.
Yeah.
And honestly, I actually backed out.
Really?
Because a lot of people don't know things about television is they ask for everything but your firstborn and your blood type. I mean, and when they ask for it, they want it in like 24 to 48 hours, sometimes 12 hours. It's like, I want a quick turnaround on this stuff, right? Yeah. And constant like Skype calls and stuff like that, testing stuff out. And it was overwhelming to me.
Okay.
I had just lost my mother 6 months prior to that.
Wow.
Then they changed the competition from a baking competition to a cake decorating competition. And at that time, I've been baking since I was 10 years old, y'all. Went to culinary school, worked at some of the best bakeries in New York City and in DC. And so I was confident in my baking abilities, but I wasn't as confident in my cake decorating abilities.
Okay.
So I pulled out.
Really?
I pulled out, told them I don't want to do it. The producers called me and was like, the cake boss wants you. What can we do to get that? I was like, oh, he want me? I bet I'm gonna come. So when I got on the stage, I still call it a stage because it is a stage. Yeah. It is. It's a stage mock kitchen. And when I got on there, I was nervous as hell. I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you. But I did my first competition with my cousin.
Okay.
And we had to do it with a family member. My cousin didn't know how to bake. She was a great cook. We worked in the kitchen before. So we had chemistry and rapport. And we're friends. Like, we're genuinely friends, my cousin Teresa and I. So we already have chemistry. Me and you kind of like bantering, even though you don't like to be in front of the camera. We're actually having a good time right now, right?
We really are.
That's me and my cousin.
Okay.
So it helped me calm me down.
Okay.
But then, I kid you not, bro, something kind of took over me. Where this alter ego came in.
Okay.
Because I started bantering with the team. Across from me, like, yo, what y'all over there doing? Okay. Oh, y'all making this cake.
You made it fun.
I was throwing shots at them. This is not me learning this from somewhere else. It just came in me, son. So every time the camera comes on, and I was telling you before we even did this, because he kept telling me, I want all this energy. And I was like, yo, every time the camera comes on, it's like it's like my alter ego comes in and it's like, let's go, let's have it.
Because that's so true. Because if you talk to Mr.Bake on the phone, he's a totally different dude. I mean, yo, real talk. Like, I can't even say no. He's already eating his breakfast. He didn't even say too much to me. But when the camera comes on, he's a beast.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is what he does. And so it really is like two different people you're dealing with. Because he's like, I got you. Don't worry about that. It's all gonna turn around. You know. And so So I definitely.
When I realized after that show that I was self-sabotaging myself and not believing in my abilities, right? Because he gave me, the cake boss had gave me so many great accolades and just like props. He made me feel comfortable and good. But then I also saw like how great I enjoy television.
Yeah.
But then another thing I saw, it gave me, was a purpose in my passion. So this is my passion, right?
Okay.
But the purpose part was, there was nobody who looked like me in mainstream TV or out there. Like there was no black male who was baking. Or a brown person who is baking that I can say, I can be Marcus Samuelson. I can be Carla Hall. No, you know what I mean? There was no, you know, but these people cook, and that's a female. And then on top of that, I didn't see nobody of color who is openly queer. Now, I don't know what the men on TV, I don't know what their section, I don't know what their background is. But nobody I can identify and say, I want to look up. So then now I had a whole new charge in my life, man.
And it really is like a light switch goes on and you went down, the cameras come on.
That was 7 years ago, bro. 7 years ago.
Wow. When you've been kind of, because I'm looking at your stuff and I'm proud of you. And we, you know, didn't even, you know, I'm just like, wow. Like, and then you read another thing, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Every cartoon show, I'm like, oh, there, he made it, you know, what's going on? Like, and I just feel like it is between your beautiful energy. I mean, you got to look for it.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
It's all a matter of time before you get your own thing going.
Thank you, thank you.
Because you need to be in front of the camera.
That's the goal.
So,
thank you.
You still, you know, you're still young, and you cook your butt off, and I might take another piece of this.
Oh yeah, you gonna take some of this home to family and friends.
Damn, don't talk to me like this. I'm expecting it because I was trying to kill all this. I'm like, all right, you just said it. By the time y'all see this, y'all, whoever's gonna get it is already done had it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got to go containers already. You know how the whole bakery. So you about to take some of this home.
Nah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for being on.
Yeah.
We got another segment coming in probably a few weeks. And so when she on cooked for you, Mr. Bake showed us what to do. You guys have a good night.
Peace.